probably one of the favorite things that I wrote down here in my journal. I said, another thing this program has taught me is the lesson of self-love and care. I know this sounds so pretentious and she's reaching. I completely agree with this. If you want to build muscle or if you want to change your body, there's a lot of things that you have to change as well. Okay, we are just gonna get right into it because there's probably a lot of things that I need to talk about. Okay, to paint the picture of where I'm at right now, when I filmed this workout, I was on the last day of week 6 out of 10. By week 6, I have learned how to warm up properly. I am more familiar with the terms and the lingo in the program, and I am more confident. The first thing I want to address is my form, okay, and how I approach these exercises. Before I started this program, I barely ever did squats. I think the last time I did a squat was during the summer of 2022, and this program calls for squats every leg day. Throughout the last couple weeks, I've had the privilege to practice proper form, practice progressive overload, and practice how to push myself when it comes to lifting heavy. Okay, I know, it's kind of hard to compare a Smith machine versus a squat rack because they are pretty different. Obviously, the Smith machine has more support, so it's easier to go down all the way. However, the squat rack was taken when I was working out, when I was filming. But anyways, just to focus on the range of motion itself, during week 2, my main priority while squatting was to keep proper form and keep my legs and torso parallel. And since I had a couple weeks to perfect that, my main priority now for week 6 is to focus on pushing from the heels and really targeting the glutes, basically still focusing on mind-muscle connection. Since I am quad dominant and my primary goal is to build glute muscle, it's so important for me to focus on that. My friend Zabahat let me borrow her straps to try out during this workout, and it's something I might play around with in the future because my grip sucks and I would love to lift heavier, but it's just so hard for me. As you can see, there is a difference, a huge difference actually, from week 2 and week 6. First of all, I'm using a barbell versus dumbbells, and second of all, I'm lifting heavier on week 2 and lifting a little bit lighter on week 6. And the main reason for that is because I've learned how to listen to my body. Every workout is meant to be different from each other, and since I've been weightlifting for so long, I do realize that I need to switch it up every now and then. Some days or some weeks I can lift heavy and really feel it, and other days I just need lighter weights and more reps. I've definitely learned that every workout cannot be perfect, even if it's already tailored for you. Here you can see that it took me a couple weeks to increase the weight on the cable machine. However, my range of motion, the time under tension, has drastically changed. I understand now how to do the movement properly to engage my glutes. And the hip thrust, my favorite exercise. Okay, so coincidentally, when I filmed these 2 workouts, the squat racks were taken, so I did the alternative. I used the Smith machine and the hip thrust machine at my gym, and I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of hard to compare these differences, but the main thing I would point out is the range of motion and the time under tension. Even though I used to be able to lift 3 plates, I recognize now that it's not always about the heavy lifting, it's about the technique. Speaking of technique, I am constantly trying to find new exercises that will help me build a stronger mind-muscle connection with my glutes. As much as I love hip thrust, I do have to admit there are other exercises that will give you a good glute pump. You don't always have to do hip thrust, you can find alternatives. And this exercise has probably been one of my favorites to help build my shelf. It's kind of like a cable kickback, but it has a lot more range of motion. To conclude the differences between week 2 and 6, you can obviously see a lot of things have changed, such as my technique, my form, my confidence, and my approach to weightlifting. But one of the main things I want to highlight, if there's one thing you will take away from this video, it is to always stretch, warm up, and foam roll. The warm up and the cool down are just as important as the workout itself. Staying attentive and consistent and disciplined with my nutrition has definitely changed the game as well. There hasn't really been a huge difference between how I meal prepped in the beginning versus how I meal prep now. If anything, I was probably better at the beginning. I have noticed my appetite has definitely increased over the last couple weeks. Since I'm practicing progressive overload, I do understand that I probably need a lot more food to fuel my workouts. Before I started this program, I don't really think I counted how many meals I had a day. I think I just ate when I felt hungry, kind of like following intuitive eating, which is good. I think that's appropriate for everyone. So you avoid overeating and undereating. However, I noticed that I am more attentive to how much I eat and when I eat. I try to have at least 3 meals a day. One is breakfast or my pre-workout. My second would be my lunch. And then I would have a couple snacks in between here and there. And I find that I treat my dinner kind of like a way to close the day because it's my last opportunity to get in all my protein. I've definitely changed my relationship with food in a very good way, thankfully. Before, I kind of saw it as a chore to eat this much protein, but now I love eating. I love finishing a hearty meal. I love feeling satisfied after eating something good and healthy. And I love the idea of me basically seeing my muscles grow. To be completely transparent, there are still some days where I'm kind of skeptical or I'm not too sure if this is quote unquote a good meal because it doesn't have enough protein. But I mean, at the end of the day, I'm still enjoying myself. I know I have the next meal as an opportunity to get in the extra protein, and by the end of it, my muscles are still growing because I'm eating. I wrote in my journal because I was trying to think of how this program has changed me. I have changed physically, but I also think there's a lot of things that I've progressed in. When you do a workout program, the reason behind it is to change your body, or I don't know, maybe challenge you, push yourself to the limit. Physical aspect is going to be the number one thing that you want to search for and achieve. However, I did want to highlight what I've learned and what I've gained. Well, one of the things that I wanted to talk about was obviously confidence. I've definitely seen a huge confidence boost in myself ever since I started this journey. It first started with the physical aspect of things because I started to lose weight, I started to tone up a little bit, I started to build muscle. Now I understand that I do have the power and I do have the ability to achieve the goals that I have. And hard work along with discipline and consistency equals manifestation. I don't know. I'm trying not to be too pretentious about this. My love for fitness and weightlifting has just, I didn't think it could grow deeper, but it has. It really has. And I love this program. But anyways, but going back to my journal, one of the main things that I highlighted was discipline. It wasn't until I actually started this program, I recognized that discipline plays a huge role in everything that I do, not just inside the gym, but also outside of the gym. I think discipline really changes the way you look at things, the way you perceive yourself, and the way you perceive challenges. In my 2023 goals, I wanted to be a woman of my word, and that definitely applies to me. I want to stay accountable. Like, I want to be reliable. Being reliable to yourself is life-changing. The thing that I've learned is how to properly listen to my body and adjust accordingly. My needs from my body is different every day, probably different every hour. Weightlifting, it can be really hard on your body, and I've noticed ever since I started this program, my body has been a lot more tight, which basically means I need to stretch more, I need to foam roll more, I need to warm up properly to prevent injury. I realized that my body needs different things. I play around with it, I do what I want, and I do what I enjoy. Probably one of the favorite things that I wrote down here in my journal. I said, another thing this program has taught me is a lesson of self-love and care. I know this sounds so pretentious and she's reaching. I completely agree with this. If you want to build muscle or if you want to change your body, there's a lot of things that you have to change as well. You have to change your lifestyle, you have to change your attitude, and you have to change your perception of life and how, okay, this sounds so pretentious, but it does, okay? Like, once you start building discipline, you start to recognize what you need to work on, what you need to say yes to, and what's important to you. Like, you start to prioritize things to help you achieve your goal. And in this sense, we're talking about the workout routine. My main priority was to build a fatty, okay? Very surface level. But once you think about it, in order to build a muscle, you need to prioritize your nutrition, you need to prioritize your sleep, you need to prioritize your time and how you spend your energy, because you only have so much time in the day. I have been making a point to eat better. I've been trying to eat as much protein as I can to actually build and repair the muscle. And naturally, you also think about the kinds of foods that will help you do that. Meal prepping really has changed the game for me. And then my second priority has been sleep. I've noticed that I have been sleeping so much more than I used to before. And at first I kind of was skeptical about that, because before in the past I was against napping. I just think there's better things you can do with your time. However, now that I understand the importance of sleep, and I actually feel a huge difference when I'm well rested versus when I'm sleep deprived. I take naps literally almost every day. I think that is still an issue, but I think it is okay. My body needs rest. Lack of sleep really affects me. So taking naps and taking that time to get a couple minutes or maybe like an hour or two of sleep to help my brain work and to also help my body repair, so I don't really feel that bad. It will help me progress and achieve my goals in and outside of the gym. This is a basic need that I need to prioritize. Yeah, these things genuinely helped me feel so much better about myself. Maybe I'm just romanticizing this workout program because I love it so much, but there has been a lot of changes that I've been making the last few weeks, and I think a lot of it goes back into just the idea of self-care and showing up for myself and creating goals and taking control to achieve them. I don't know, guys. I don't know. I feel like half of me is being a little pretentious, but half of me is like, no, this was really good for me. I'll see you maybe soon. Maybe.